Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our transatlantic conversation. For nearly 3 years, we've enjoyed the privilege of hosting Association Transformation for the international membership community. Over nearly 40 hours and 70 plus episodes, we've hosted more than 100 guests from the UK, the USA, Australia, South Africa, and many points in between. Regular listeners will know that over the years, we've covered a huge variety of topics, from change management, leadership relationships, and 4-day weeks, to financial strategy, income generation, and modern governance practice. And of course, who could possibly forget the unicorns and the puppy dogs episode? We really hope you enjoy every episode, and while we will always make our content freely available, remember, subscribe wherever you get your favorite pods. If you would like to lend us your support, you can do so by subscribing to the pod from as little as $5 a month. Now, hopefully it goes without saying that Elisa and I and the whole Association Transformation production team will appreciate your generosity and your ongoing support. To subscribe, visit patreon.com/Association Transformation and choose the monthly subscription level that suits you best. That's Patreon, patreon.com/Association Transformation. And remember, whatever you're up to today, put your members and your mission first. Enjoy the pod.
Well, hello, stranger. I haven't seen you in forever. Welcome to Association Transformation. You might have forgotten about me and this little old podcast here, but welcome back, Andrew Chamberlain.
It doesn't matter how far I travel. It doesn't matter how far I go, how many miles I put under my belt, how many airplanes I sit in. I could never forget you and Association Transformation.
You're permanently scarred.
And yeah, you can take that any way you want. It's good to see you.
You know what? We didn't get to hang out this year at ASAE, but people did come up to me and say that they are listening. They are listeners, that they were excited to see me. They wanted to know how you were. So, I mean, I think we may be up to like 22 or 23 listeners now.
That is amazing. We shouldn't do ourselves down. Maybe we should start doing like some signed autographs or something and start sending them out to our adoring fan. I don't know.
8x10 glossies.
Yeah, something like that.
Autographed.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. That'd be awesome. Oh, we're totally gonna do that.
Oh my God, stop. Just put me in touch with your publicist and we'll figure it out. So you and I, it's been a busy year, a good busy year, but
Yep.
we were chatting earlier about the realities of being a consultant. And I think our audience is both consultant friends, consultant community, other thought leaders, as well as association leaders, clients, future clients, we hope. But it seems to be a big divide between what people think consulting is, what it actually is, and the relationship between the client and the consultant. And I think you and I have a unique perspective. As the now 7-year in founder and chief strategist of Brewer Pratt Solutions, I will say I went into consulting not knowing. I was naive. And I've been scarred. I've learned a lot. You've been in it as long as I have, but I thought we could just take a moment here and share with people some tips, some tricks, some realities, from everything to project schedules, to RFPs, to how to get the most out of your consultant. We've complained and vented about a lot of things over the years. And I actually think if we pull back the curtain, we could probably do some good to the, for the industry, for the profession, for nonprofits.
Yeah, I think, I agree. I do want to, the objective always is for the pod is to be helpful. And I think, one of the things that I've realized over the years is there is this quite wide gap in terms of, an appreciation of what we do. And in fact, when I reflect on it, to be honest, I used to be fairly disparaging of, consultants. I didn't understand what they did. I also, when I worked in the public sector, not the non-profit environment, but in the public sector, it tended to be that, consultants were the devil incarnate, and they were a necessary evil, who were primarily there to make you feel bad and to drain your financial resources dry. And I think,
Wow.
and I think that
You
sometimes,
didn't come in with any preconceived notions.
no,
Wow.
no, and then I took that with me. No, um, and then I had the benefit of working, alongside some really top quality consultants when I was chief exec at Armour, and I had, the benefit of seeing, getting some insights into what they do. And then, of course, I went out, probably about the same time as you, 2016, went out on my own. And then it really was eye-opening as to not just what we do, but how people perceive us.
And
Uh,
what we go through. I mean, and this isn't, we're not here playing a violin,
oh, no,
singing a
no,
sad
no,
song,
no.
trying to get people to feel
It's
empathy
not
or
pity. You're
sympathy for us.
no,
This
no.
is,
It's not a pity
I,
pod. No.
right. I think this is about helping people understand what we've learned so they can be better clients and consultants can be better consultants. Because I too have plenty of consultant scars from when I was a staff executive and I was underwhelmed. I was left holding the bag. I was overcharged.
Yeah.
I purchased whatever they had already sold to some other client or customer and just changed the logo on the front slide. I had been through all that, and I built my business on the principle of being the consultant that wish I had had, being,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
transparent, being sincere, doing whatever it took. And I take pride in that. That's my compass, is being the consultant that I wish I had had. And it's, it's been harder than I expected, given the infrastructure of consulting and looking for consultants and hiring consultants in the association space.
And I think for me, it really hammered home during the spring this year. I did one of my mini governance reviews, and I later found out. I mean, and it was a good review, as they all are. But I later
If
found
you
out.
don't say so yourself.
I later found out that during the board discussion examining my review, that a senior member of the board turned around and dismissed my report and recommendations, and said, and I quote, well, he's just Googled this. Anybody can find this information out, and just categorically dismissed in one fell swoop, one sentence. 25 years of experience and expertise and hard graft and knowledge, and that really, obviously, it hurts in so much as you're like, oh, come on, I mean, we put, as you would want us to, loads of effort, loads of energy, loads of time, loads of knowledge and expertise into the work that we produce. So obviously there's that kind of initial sort of personal sting. But also I thought, oh God, it just hammered home for me that we are still, as consultants to the non-profit world, we're still coming up against some quite subjective bias, in terms of, because actually what I produced in that context, you couldn't just Google it. You couldn't. It was all presented in a certain context that was layered through the years of experience that I've got. But it really hammered home for me the challenge that we have in terms of initially, not just, and this was someone I'd already contracted to. This is someone who'd already given me the gig. They were dismissing me, and it's like, right, how do you work against that?
Well, and I too have found that when presenting a report or findings or recommendations that are not going to be easy,
Uh,
or in some ways hold up a mirror that reflects poor behavior or poor judgment or mismanagement, that it's easier for them to kind of attack the messenger.
Project it back onto
Um,
you, yeah.
yeah, I have experienced that, because no one comes to me to reinforce the status quo. People come to me to tell the truth, and I know they do with you as well. So sometimes that truth is not as easy. It's more painful than they expect. It's not what they've prepared their leadership for. So for me, there's a struggle with the precedent that has been set, there are bad consultants out there. I'm
Yes,
sure there are consultants out there that Google or Chat GPT or whatever.
yeah,
And that's a threat to our profession. That's a threat to our credibility. And um, so I don't blame them for not giving blanket credence to everything they get from a consultant.
indeed.
But at the same time, we have to, and I've had to learn how to better pave the way for less than positive news.
Less than positive.
Is
And
that
that
a
is
nice
how
way to
you
say
pave
it?
the way. That is how you do it, by talking about less than positive.
Sorry, board. I have some less than positive news to share with you.
On the positivity scale, it's in negative figures. In minus figures on the positivity scale.
You
Yes.
are reverse. It's a reverse positive.
That's
It's an anti-positive, and we have some hard work ahead. And oh, by the way, you all are part of, if not most of the problem. Yes, those messages are hard to deliver, and we know that. And because this is well-researched, sincere work, we have to probably put in as much, if not more, work on the PR side of it. But you're speaking to something different, which is respect for consultants as professionals, as experts in our field.
yes.
And I'll admit, I've been hired to come in and be the bad guy. I've come in and I've been hired to deliver the news that the executive didn't want to have to deliver.
And I'm totally fine with that. I'm totally fine with being brought in to be the bad guy. I don't,
Me too. I like it sometimes.
but it's how I thrive. It's where my most creative moments are, when I'm the villain of the piece. But I guess for me, it's about this issue that this example that I spoke about. It triggered me, but not in a not. Look, I was disappointed. I was disappointed, but actually, I was more sort of triggered by the fact that it really highlighted that, yes, we're asking people to, bring us into their businesses. We're asking people to trust us, to put faith in us. We're asking people to, to
tell us the truth. We need
yeah,
them to be honest so we can then be helpful. It's like going to the doctor and not giving them your true symptoms or your true behaviors.
exactly. And so I thought, well, we want them to invest in us. So how do we make that an easier prospect? Now, and I don't know, I suspect you're probably the same, but most of my work over the last 7-8 years is come from referrals, and I think that's true of most, certainly like us, one person micro businesses. Most of our business is generated through referrals, word of mouth, a recommendation from a previous client to a potential client. But how do you can't rely on that, and we can't rely on that, as as the funnel, the sales funnel, as it were, for us. So what do we need to do to instill confidence in us and in what we do? How do we make it so that it is easier for an association to make the investment, to take the step in saying, actually, we are going to spend this money, and we're confident that when we spend it, there will be, a tangible ROI on it.
So I agree with you that referrals and testimonials and the experience that we can vouch for, that can be demonstrated through our previous work, is half the equation. The other half, and I know there are many credentials out there and letters after people's names that I don't yet have, but is this a matter of seeking that professional development, or is it a matter of respecting that professional development? Because I do have letters after my name. I have invested in my professional growth so I can stay at the forefront of all of this on behalf of my consultants. Is it respected? Is it given the weight that it's due? I don't know. Maybe I need more letters after my name. Maybe I need all the letters after my name. And I
I
don't
just need
know.
an alphabet. I just need a dictionary after my name. Maybe then people will. Yeah, no. I think it's a combination of both. I think there is this element, there is this kind of personal pride, as it were, that drives me and says, "Look, I want you to acknowledge that I have, X amount of experience and Y number of years and Z number of clients, and that in itself should speak volumes, and it does. But I think, there is no credential at the moment that is dedicated to consultants in the non-profit world. Now,
Are you
there are,
sure?
yeah, there are credentials. There are credentials out there, but there's nothing that I've been able to find that. Oh, look, you're Googling it now. While
I'm
we
Googling. Hold on. I'm gonna fact check you real quick.
check me, do it right now. This is not fake news. This is not fake news. There are plenty of credentials out there. If you're a specialist in, let's say for argument's sake, you're a specialist marketing consultant, or you're a specialist event management consultant, or you're financial consultant. There are, of course, professional qualifications and credentials and membership organizations to whom you can belong. But, as a generalist consultant in non-profit leadership, governance, strategy, there's nothing that I could tap into, because there's no point in me getting my CAE, which is, listeners who aren't familiar, that's a certified association executive. To my mind, I'm not an association executive. I work in support of association executives. I work in support of non-profit organizations. But me getting a CAE only demonstrates my credentials in working directly in the association environment, not in support of.
Right. And I got my CAE when I was in that role, and it serves
Exactly.
me now.
Exactly.
It serves me now to retain that perspective, to speak that language, and to stay atop of the
Yep.
regulations and best practices that are, necessary in those roles. So
And
I'm
it's
glad I have it. I'll continue to
yeah,
renew.
and it's an indication. It's absolutely an indication of your credibility. It's and of your wider sort of expertise and your professional focus. But to my mind, it's still not. We as a profession, and by that I mean consultants in the non-profit environment, we're not recognised as a profession. Not really. And I think, are you still Googling as I'm talking, by the way?
Sorry, I'm listening. I'm listening.
I
I
know
just can't believe you. I don't want you to be right. I don't want you to be right. So I
I can
keep
see you on
Googling.
the
Yes.
screen, and I'm like, look at me when I'm talking.
Oh, stop it.
There's there's I think I reflected further on it. I thought, actually, we as a profession are arguably sort of struggling in the same way that, if you sort of reflect 5 or 10 years ago, association professionals were struggling for that recognition,
Yeah.
and still are to a degree. So to my mind, I think there's something there that we as a consultant, as a profession, should be exploring, so that to add value, as it were, to our credibility and credentials.
I think part of it is the inherent confusion within the term consultant. I know many, many people's peers, former colleagues, friends who have hung a shingle, who go as a consultant for a short period of time in between jobs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're not looking to build a business.
No,
They're really taking
yeah,
no risk. They're simply bridging a gap in
yeah.
their resume while they look. So, I've talked to other full-time, committed, lifelong consultants about this before, and those are freelancers. Those are freelancers who are biding their time, staying busy, doing some project work, earning a little money. Those are side hustles, whatever.
Yeah.
Individuals who have incorporated, who have employees, who have a website, who are committed to this, whether times are great or times are lean, to me, those are the consultants that I think we need to differentiate.
Oh, I agree completely. And the other ones we need to differentiate from are the Did I say the consultants who were doing it because it's a retirement gig?
Oh my Lord. Yeah, I don't want to be an ageist. This is a dangerous pathway. This is a
No,
very
it's
dangerous
not.
pathway.
It's not. I sport when I first started out. Somebody said to me, giving me friendly paternal advice. Well, I don't think you should be doing it yet because you're too young. And I'm like, right, okay. Well, what do you mean? Oh, well, most consultants, they don't go into it until they're sort of 50, 55. And I'm thinking, 50, 55. I'm not going to have the energy or the impetus to be setting up a new business when I'm, in my 50s. But I think that also does, we are competing with that narrative around, there's a lot of people out there who are just, and particularly ex-non-profit leadership, C-suite, who are out there just sort of topping up their pension, freelancing effectively, but peddling.
Right. It's a soft landing into retirement because they
Yeah,
don't want to be bored
yeah,
or they aren't ready to give up the image that they have of themselves, that identity within the association
absolutely. I get
space that
that.
they
I
have
get
built.
that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to be I don't want to be an ageist, but I too have noticed that demographic within the association consulting space. I try to look to that audience for, the sage experience and unique perspective they may present in a world of rapid change. I look to them honestly as a demographic that's representative of what most of my board leaders are.
That is a very good point. That is a very good.
So, if I present something to an older consultant who is, again, looking for a soft landing into retirement, I bounce things off of them before I take them to my old curmudgeon board chairs just to see how they're going to react.
I love this. We're not being ageist, but my curmudgeon old board
Oh,
chair.
you're right. You're right. That's
So
too much of a caricature, but
I think there's some work there to be done. And you know that I've recently joined the board of the Association of Consultants to Nonprofits.
oh
Which,
yeah, that's right. Well, why don't you guys have a credential already?
well, that's what I've kind of made that my sort of my manifesto, as it were, to getting on that board.
Wait, what's this organization? Hold on, I'm still Googling while you're talking. So what's this organization?
I've just got Netflix on in the background.
I muted it. I muted it.
It's the Association of Consultants to Nonprofits, ACN. And I think, that organization, they're Chicago based, but they have global aspirations, and I think they have some very, well, I know that they have some genuine ambition around the professionalization of the consulting world. And I think that could be a huge game changer for people like me and you, who and again, as I said, this isn't a pity pod, but for people like me and you who are doing our own marketing, doing our own RFPs, as well as getting the business done, as well as doing our own accounting, as well as getting out there and doing all the other bits and pieces that we, our IT and our software and all the other stuff that is involved in running a business. I think something that can sort of differentiate us in our field will be significant. And so that is something that I'm going to be asking the ACN to take forward.
Well, and I'm still suspicious that there isn't something already out there. So, again, to our 23, 24 listeners, if you know of something, a credential, a certificate,
It's Google Wars.
a designation, or something you already have. I know that there are consultants who have the facilitator designation.
Yeah.
There are other things. I myself have a certified virtual facilitator designation that was valuable during COVID.
But does that then mean I have to go out and get half a dozen or a dozen different certifications?
No, but you brought this up. You wanted to know if there was already marks of credibility.
You made it your mission to prove me wrong, but you have.
That's my mission in life. That's my mission in life, Andrew. That's not just this pod. That's not just this pod.
Okay, fair enough. And you want we don't speak to each other between podcasts, honestly.
You're so mean. All right, we promised that this would be of benefit to the the nonprofit ecosystem. And I don't want it to just be us,
Whinging. So
bitching.
the other thing I want to talk about, if I may.
Oh, please, you have the floor.
Is RFPs.
Thank you.
RFPs. There's got to be a different acronym for RFP that would demonstrate how I feel about them. Because
rubbish for
okay. That's tame.
I was going to use the F as something else, but yeah.
So, I spend, I've probably thinking about my work, I would say in the last 7 years, 95% of my business has come from referrals. And 3% has come from random people getting in touch with me and saying, I don't really know what you do, but I think you do what I want to do. Can you give me a proposal? And 2% has come out of the RFPs that are published and that I respond to. And I can't believe that and I've been sitting there for years thinking, I am not this bad at writing responses to RFPs. I am not. And one of the headaches I've got with the whole RFP, I don't mind the RFP process. I think actually as a way of, sifting through options and of identifying options, and as a way of sort of scoring and weighting and informing, your decision. I think as a procurement tool, as a buy-in tool, I think the RFP is an excellent, provides an excellent platform and an even, and a fair and even playing field for people to respond. So I don't have a headache with RFP, the principle of RFPs. I do have a headache, however, with the quality of how these RFPs are produced. Specifically, go on. You were going to say something, but I'll leave it on that knife edge.
Well,
what are you going to say?
Your track record of 2% tells me that either you're getting bad RFPs that don't give you the information necessary to present yourself, or you're bad at RFPs.
And I'm not bad at RFPs. I'm not, because my writing is excellent. My written work is exceptional.
I agree. You are one of the best writers I know.
You've seen one of the two RFPs, in fact, both of the RFPs that I think I've won are when you and I have collaborated.
Okay, so there's the common denominator of your success is me. Let's just say that.
I'm just going to put that out there. You said it, not me, but I laid the groundwork for you.
You did, and you're a great writer. So let's talk about RFPs as a tool. I agree. I think they're as important as a assignment to the organization to think through what they are trying to achieve. Absolutely. What their timeline is, what they have to offer in terms of information and resources to contribute to that outcome that they are seeking. I also struggle with RFPs, not only how different they all are, but how little information is shared. I don't need the bio. I don't need you to photo or copy and paste your About Us page from your website. I need to understand the reality you want to realize when the project is over, what you are trying to achieve.
And that's it. And I think you've hit the nail on the head there, which is I want you to put out an RFP and tell me what the outcome is. And I will tell you how I think we can get there. And invariably, the most poorly written RFPs are the ones that that map out to the nth detail what they want you to do. We want a strategic planning specialist, and this is how we want you to do it.
Yeah.
These are the people who you are going to speak to, and this is the time scale that you're going to do it in. Oh, and by the way, this is what you're going to charge. And I'm like, there's no way when that RFP is put out the door that I can demonstrate within those stringent parameters that I can demonstrate how I am different, better, authentic than any other consultant any of us can say. Because, we could be competing for the same RFP. And what are we going to say that differentiates ourselves from each other? When we are being made to respond to detailed requests for proposals that give us no room to demonstrate how we could add significant value to an association. And that for me is the one. And you know what? Maybe I am just rubbish at responding. Maybe I am just rubbish. But the principle is still the same when you're giving me such detailed a detailed to-do list. You're not looking for a strategic, a facilitator. You're not looking for a strategic planner. You're not looking for a strategic mind. You're looking for a project administrator.
Right. And I think of this, if I'm the chef, if I'm the expert, and you tell me the type of experience you want, the outcome you want, the results, I'll build the menu. You invite the people, I'll build the menu. And I agree with you. And as I continue to Google while you're talking,
unbelievable. I feel like you've paid zero attention to this conversation at all.
How dare you? I am having a back and forth conversation with you. I can multitask. I have multiple screens here in front of me. And I was looking again at the organization you referenced, Association of Consultants to Nonprofits, and I stumbled upon a multitude of resources to help nonprofits submit an RFP. Yep. There's an ebook here about how to hire a nonprofit consultant. So, we're obviously not the first ones to think about this, to want that portion of the journey to be better for both sides. So I'm just plugging your organization and the resources that are already here.
You're a rock star, Lise. You're a rock star. But I think that is that. I think again, you put it nicely there, which is making it. I don't expect tendering for work to, bidding for work to be an easy process necessarily. Of course, if you don't know me, you have no idea who I am. Yes, I'm listing all the clients I've worked with, whoopee-doo. You don't know me from Adam. And so therefore, I'm absolutely on board with it being a challenge, but not challenging. And I think you put it nicely there, which is you've got to make it so that both sides are benefiting from the process.
Well, I have made it a professional practice to schedule an introductory phone call with any organization prior to submitting a proposal or responding to an RFP.
But I tried that once.
And it takes more time. I admit it. It takes more time on the front end, but it saves me time on the proposal end. And it lets me know right off the bat whether I'm going to submit at all, whether we're on the same page, whether we want and can get to the same place.
Oh, I get that. And I feedback I got from one RFP that I didn't get was, well, the people who got it, they reached out to us in advance and had a conversation. Exactly what you just described. And I thought, oh, okay, yeah, right, that makes sense. So I then reached out to the next RFP and said, it'd be really good if we could, touch base, have a conversation, learn more about each other. No, we don't want to do that. We want to give everybody an equal and fair chance. So we're not going to talk to anybody.
Here's the RFP. It's all you get. I think that is that means they want to cast a wide net because they've probably already decided who they're going to select. My favorite are when you lose the proposal or you're not selected and you ask for feedback and they let you know that they've chosen someone that they've worked with in the past. Well, yeah. You know what? You didn't make that a prerequisite. If you had, I wouldn't have wasted my time on the proposal. Or we are punished as solopreneurs. And, do I have a team? Absolutely. Do I have others that I can collaborate with? You as an example, an expert that I would bring in for specialty, for capacity, for whatever. Yeah. If I'm going to be punished because I'm not a big firm who's probably going to win the work and then hand it off to some junior coordinator anyway.
Yeah.
I don't get me started on that, but
I think finally for me, the other headache that I think is worth sort of reflecting on when you are putting together either an RFP or you just, as you say, just casting your net for referrals. I think when you're looking for somebody to whom you want to contract, think about what it is that you're contracting for. And the number of times I've been knocked back because they say, "Oh yeah, you've got great experience. We can see you've done loads of strategic plans, or you've done loads of governance work, or you've done loads of leadership training. Love all that, but you've not got enough experience in the industry for whom our association exists.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, but that's not what you're contracting for. You're not asking me to come in and work in that industry. You're asking me to come in and work for your association. And I am an association specialist. And that is probably, I would say that is the number one reason I get told that I've been turned down is you're not from the industry. And it's like, your chances are you're probably not going to find somebody in that industry who's going to be equipped with the skills and the expertise and the knowledge that you need to be working for your association. And I think
I wonder if that most often comes from chief staff executives who have originated from industry.
The I've done it so I can run it crowd. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, we've obviously struck a nerve here. And there's a lot here is what I'm saying. And
Yes.
Maybe we're onto something. Maybe this is a conversation we need to have with other consultants. Lessons learned, how to put some of these, improve your RFP or get more out of your consultant resources to the test. Maybe this is something we should put on the schedule for the 2024 podcast calendar. I don't know,
Okay.
Pulling back the curtain, consultant realities, consultants come clean.
Oh, no, not consultants come clean. We don't want any of that.
Okay.
Don't want honesty or anything,
Well, and to your point, everyone's selling, right? And that's where I struggle. I'm not good at the salesy piece, the business piece. I want to get in and do the work. I want to be honest with you in what I find, and I want to help you, save face and get your board where they need to go. So I don't always say the right thing. I probably give away too much for free. I'm not good at that stuff. So yeah, maybe we can have other consultants come in and tell us what they do, so we can either do the opposite or.
But I think that's because we're from. I know, and
from the industry. I'm sorry, what?
We are from the industry, from the association industry. We are. We're born out of it, and I think that could be the difference in it. In terms of why we're not particularly amazing at selling, So I agree with you. Let's bring some other people in.
All right. So here's the call for help. Here's the request to the audience. Number one, let us know if you know of any credentials, certificates, designations that are for nonprofit consultants.
You won't find any, but okay.
Let's see. And number two, if you are a consultant or have recently engaged a consultant and there was something in that journey or that experience that you wish had been different, or you've learned lessons from either consulting or soliciting and contracting consultants over the years, let us know. We want to give you a forum. We want to kind of put this all out there for the betterment of the community, and in reality for the betterment of our mission-driven organizations. It's not about any of us.
No.
It's not about us. It's about our organizations, our charge, what we're trying to achieve, and the leaders who are helping us in that execution. So I ask us to rise above all of the personality stuff, the feelings hurt, the this and that, to talk about what could be different, what could be better, so we can be better, all of us on all sides, be better at what we do. That's a good call, right? We'll see what we get. Maybe in next year we can do one of these a couple times. But I'm just glad we got back together. I didn't expect it to be such a therapy session, but I'm glad to get to chat. I've missed you. We haven't potted much this year together, but I'm excited about this conversation. We've got a few great ones on the calendar before the end of the year. This year is going by so fast, but thanks for making time for Association Transformation today.
Are you talking to me or the listener?
I'm talking to you.
So I told you I can never escape it. I can never ever escape Association Transformation.
Should we get tattoos? I think for our 100th episode, we should get tattoos.
I think maybe just a mug. Maybe just a couple of
mugs. A mug?
Just a couple of mugs. Maybe 1,000 episodes we'll have tattoos, but I'm not convinced with your 100 episode we'll get some ink. I'm not sure I like it. No.
I'm horrified by your lack of commitment. horrified. But until next time, we'll fight about this again. But I appreciate you joining us. I appreciate our audience and all of our listeners, our growing audience. Encourage you to make Association Transformation one of your favorites wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, put your members and your mission first.